Sandy, all right, we started at 6:15. We have the minutes. From July. Does anyone have any questions about those minutes? Did you have a chance to look it over and? Any comments? No.
If there are no comments, you can accept the minutes as written.
Okay, we accept the minutes as written unless there's been any changes. Okay, that brings us to the agenda items, landmark alteration. The Weinberg Schroeder House.
Yes.
I did see those. Have you ever seen one of those, an alteration form?
We don't have the alteration form on the website yet.
I know,
So-
but this was our one.
Yes. Yeah, so we didn't
I
have
know that it
so-
exists.
Yeah.
But yes, I've been on the site and yes. Isn't that gorgeous?
Yeah, I just have that porch in this book.
Oh, yeah.
It was done by Lorena. Those early years. Oh, also. She wanted to correct some things. Not that you have to do, you have to match that. I just thought it was interesting.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
so the first item is an alteration request for the Weinberg Schroeder House, which is also known as Villa Dolce downtown, and we have Wendell here to present, what the request is to change.
So, just for the record, my name is Wendell Chamberlain and I'm representing the owners of the Weinberg Schroeder House, which is on the historical register. And, that's the reason why I'm here, is because we have a landmark alteration request as part of a deck extension to increase and enhance the amount of outside seating at Villa Dolce,
Oh, okay,
Which-
okay,
which occupies the first floor
okay.
of the building.
So you're thinking of outside seating on the porch?
Oh, there is already, Villa Dolce does provide outside seating on the porch already. And that, there is an extension, yes.
Okay, so you're not gonna use what you built there, is that correct?
The design has that door and framing to be removed, because what happens is that it reveals then a column, a pillar that is hidden on both sides, actually.
Mhm.
And then, as long as we're talking about it, on the other side, there was a downspout placed right in front of that one as well. And the design has that downspout being moved. So all four of those ornamental columns will be revealed in the design as part of what we're calling the deck extension project.
Okay, and then you're going to remove the railing then completely?
No, yes, so the two sections of railing were proposing to be removed in order to have continuity between the existing deck and the deck extension.
Yes, concerns, Josh?
Oh, I just wanted to say that I'm glad to see the downspout moving in this design.
Yeah.
That is not in its current configuration, that's a really poor place for water to go. It just pools right up against the foundation there from what it looks like on the photo.
No, actually, there's an underground
Oh,
pipe that takes
okay.
it to the street.
Okay, all right, yeah. Yeah, I did not see that in the picture, and I was concerned about the water at that grade. So, and I assume that there will be a similar setup for managing the water,
Yes, yes.
keeping it away from the
Yes.
building's
Yeah,
foundation.
we'll have to reroute it because with the deck extension, the foundation and framing for the deck extension will we'll have to reroute to that, but it'll be rerouted probably out to the sidewalk as well.
Mhm. Now, the handrail, are you familiar with the state's requirements for handrail?
Yes,
Because there's certain height and
yes.
certain
So,
type
yep.
that you need to do.
And I've already been talking to Jim Solander about if in fact the design is approved from the landmark alteration request, what he would want for permitting. And yes, so there are code not only for the railing,
Mhm.
but there are codes for the height of the deck above grade.
Yeah.
And what constitutes a legitimate step. So the steps have to be between 4 and 7 inches.
I'm assuming that's handicap.
So what you see there is the reason why, yes, so most of that ramp is greater than 5%.
Mhm.
So it is classified as as a ramp.
So it needs to be a certain width too.
Yes, it has to be 3 feet,
Yes.
but that's existing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the minimum width
It
is
doesn't show on here.
3 feet,
Mhm.
but we have 3.6.
Excellent.
Um,
Now, are you familiar with, I don't think the building has a sign that says it's a historic building anywhere. And we would like to provide you with one.
Wonderful.
And maybe we can incorporate it in here or at least talk about it.
That's,
Yeah.
I think that's something that we should discuss separate from the alteration request though.
Okay.
Sandy, that would be wonderful though. Yeah.
I used to be in commercial interior design, so that's why I know all this stuff.
Yeah.
Sandy.
Yes, please.
I just, for the deck extension, if we were to approve it, I think it would make my fellow committee members a bit more comfortable if the railing for the new deck, if you do have a railing, if it were to match the existing railing.
Yes, so that was part of our discussion, and the reason why we decided against providing a what's not really a guardrail, but could be classified as an ornamental railing around the deck, was that if you stand on the street, you're about 5.5 feet below that the existing railing, and we wanted to keep any visual obstructions from the sidewalk to the existing building. I don't know if I explained myself very well, but so that the only visible obstruction from the sidewalk to the building, to that porch and the exterior will be that handrail at the ramp.
Will it stop right as you show it?
Well, yes, because that first section of ramp is below 5%. So it's not really part of the ramp. It's really classified as a walking surface. So you're able to stop the railing, the handrail at that point. And that's really convenient because then that provides us an opportunity to have access to that deck extension at that point.
Mhm.
But, I'm sorry, but the posts for the handrail, if you're able to match those to the reveal columns, aesthetically speaking.
Ah.
I wish Elizabeth was here.
So like this portion would somehow match.
Yes, if we
these kind of-
could make
Okay.
that match. Our colleague Elizabeth is not here.
She represents the historical.
However,
in our group.
I do understand certain concerns that Elizabeth would raise if she were here from conversations that I've had with her in committee in the past, and I think that this would go some way toward getting her more personally comfortable with an exterior alteration,
All
so.
right,
Yeah, let's check in with her. She's gotten the material from,
okay,
Daphne, and we'll just ask her about
Okay.
that.
well,
Is there a way you can be reached by email perhaps,
yes,
or phone?
yes, and Daphne has that as well.
Okay,
Without speaking for Elizabeth,
Right.
this just seems like the sort of point that she
No,
would raise.
So, yes, so the handrail that you see there depicted is really very generic.
Yeah.
yes, it's not,
So,
it's probably not, historically accurate.
well.
I think that's a safe bet.
I think that's a safe bet. So, yes, to replicate, that the columns in the stanchions for the handrail and even perhaps the spacing of
Mhm.
that handrail stanchions.
Yes, the spacing would be, let's check in with
Okay.
Elizabeth and see what she says.
All right,
And,
Great,
if
thank
she
you.
may have some thoughts on that. And then we can let you know what you think.
right, right.
Okay,
But otherwise, I think this is really, I'm excited to see the framing go away and get the columns back.
yes.
Uh, because that framing is not period at all.
No, and either is the fish scales, that's not accurate. But we're not asking you to
Yeah.
remove that, we're not asking you to remove it
That's
this time, but
separate.
I'm just saying it's not,
Yeah.
So, are we in a position to wait for Elizabeth's input and therefore then approve it? Or what do you think?
I think that can definitely be like a condition you add to the alteration, so you could approve it conditionally upon,
The handrail.
Yeah,
and the-
checking in with
Mhm.
our expert on the handrail, and then if she okays it, then we can go ahead with approving it formally, yeah.
All right.
And that way you don't have to come back to landmarks next month.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Okay, and would we contact you if we want to discuss what kind of sign to put out, or would that be someone else?
I will ask, for Tony.
Okay.
I think, yeah, I think that's something where you and Daphne can talk to each other.
Yeah,
right,
directly,
all the-
and then when it's ready for the committee, it can come to us.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
for the location.
Right,
Yeah.
All right. And then the other is regarding the removal of the existing spindles and rail.
Mhm.
Is there a decision on that? Because that's really the only elements that we're taking away from the exterior.
Mhm.
So Daphne,
Mhm.
because you're more familiar with our fire code than I am since you're the
Mhm.
zoning administrator.
Yeah. I've dealt with it a little bit more, yes.
Would a deck extension with that functionally at that point barricade
Mhm.
even meet the fire code?
I believe so, because I believe the deck extension would be basically flush against, like it would extend that existing deck out.
Yes,
So we wouldn't have any issue with, having a step at that location.
yeah, it's at the same, the deck extension is at the same elevation as the
Right.
existing.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't think there would be any issue with removing the railings in between that.
Oh, no, what I was saying was if keeping them would be a fire code issue.
Oh.
Then obviously if we approve the deck extension, it's a moot point at that point, because by approving the deck extension, we have agreed that they can go out.
Yeah,
That's why I was asking about fire code, because
Okay.
that would make our decision very simple. Since I don't really see too much of a reason to deny this, do you?
No, I do not. What about you, Jeffrey? Are you on, Jeffrey?
Jeff, you're on mute.
Yes, I'm here. I've been listening, and I agree also with Alder Charles that I think we really need to make sure concerning that fire code before even, because it would be a mute situation. We would, I mean, I know we're indulging in is it or it's a if, but when it comes down to fire codes, I think we need to be dead on fact instead of moving forward and then it becomes a mute situation.
Well, Jeff, just to clarify my point, I'm saying that if the fire code says that we need to remove them and we approve the DAC, then we've approved the DAC and we've made a decision about them. But if we're comfortable removing them either way, the new DAC as the extension of the DAC as it's been shown here in the drawing, that does meet fire code currently.
Okay.
So the only real question is, would keeping them violate the fire code? And if we're comfortable with extending the deck, which it sounds like we are, then I think we're comfortable removing them.
Yeah.
That was the point I was
Okay.
trying to make.
Yeah.
I think so too.
So are we comfortable with removing them?
Yes,
Yeah.
we're making this a condition of talking with Elizabeth Hilton.
Okay.
And just verifying style-wise the existing columns. And
For the handrail.
yes, yes.
Yeah, just the. Yeah.
So to get let me get this straight. So we're comfortable. I mean, we can approve with a condition added to it.
Yes.
Or speaking
that's-
to Elizabeth.
Yep, yeah, and that's mostly for the design of these, this like black handrail that you're
Yes.
seeing.
Yeah, I see it.
We're just talking about having these match, these existing, they have these spindle looking design to it. Match that design and maybe also the spacing. And so that would be a condition of approval that you can add on.
Okay. I'm fine with it. I would, and I agree. I would love for the design to match too.
Okay. Yes.
In that case, I would move to approve the landmark alteration request with the contingency of the property owner or their representative meeting or consulting with Landmarks Commissioner Elizabeth Hilton regarding the design of the truncheons for the handrail.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay.
Okay.
And my vote raised her hand.
Yes, yeah.
Right. I just have a question. What are the conditions? Condition on what? How does it match what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great question, Marla. Yeah, we kind of just threw you into the deep end on this request, but basically every motion can be, approved or denied. And then on the approval side, you can add certain conditions to the approval. So in this case, we approved it conditioned upon, altering some minor portions of the design. And so this, that was what they were discussing about the handrails to have them match, these existing columns. And so as long as it's kind of within the same, realm of their request, that's something you can put on as a condition. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I just wondered, what are the conditions you're putting on them to
Yes.
approve? What would be, you want it to match the original rail, or what is it?
Yeah, it was.
Or is that something
so-
after Elizabeth reviews and says, yes, these are the conditions?
Yeah, basically the way I have it written is, the condition is, to match the railing.
The truncheons
Yeah,
to the posts.
Right, yeah, and so that would be, you know, confirmed by Elizabeth, who's more of our designer, consultant, or expert
She's
on.
architecture.
Yeah, and so as long as she okays it, then, you know, the rest of the approval goes.
We're happy to have.
Thanks for the clarification, makes sense.
Yeah, no, thanks for the question.
Okay, so we voted and it's all up, then we can move on to the update from the Heim.
Yes.
How you pronounce it?
Thank you, Wendell, for coming, and I'll follow up with things later.
We'll be in touch with you.
Great.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Sandy, nice meeting you, meeting you all. And then the other is, Sandy, you did, Daphne, when is this
That's,
filled out?
not yet formalized,
We have
yeah,
not, we have not changed,
All right.
there's some changes we want to make, unfortunately.
yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten to that.
It's waiting on the new landmarks ordinance.
Which
Yeah,
we're waiting
so
for.
we'll have that eventually, but since your request came before then, we didn't really have the form for you, yeah, all right.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you
so
for
much.
coming, Kyle. Appreciate it.
Good to meet you.
Okay, so now we have Rob Murray here. Thanks for coming,
My
Rob.
pleasure, glad to be here.
And
Appreciate you
he's,
making the time for me to be here.
yeah, and he's gonna give us an update on our Heim effigy mound.
So one of the probably unique things amongst those things that are landmark is a thing called the Heim effigy mound, which was here long before anybody even thought of Middleton. So it kind of predates many of the things that you guys normally deal with. Well, first of all, I'll introduce myself. My name is Rob Murray. I'm the past president of the Wisconsin Archaeological Society. I am also the chairperson of the Society's Preservation Sites Committee and am the Heim Mound Steward. So, very impressive. All that means is I get to do a lot of work and I don't get paid anything. Let's be honest about it. So the Heim effigy mound, and I'm just going to do the quick background for people who may not be familiar with effigy mounds, is a mound that was created by the indigenous peoples of this land approximately 1,000 years ago. They are burial sites. So there is at least was some sort of burial under that site. It was located on the Heim family property. Heim family owned a great deal of land between Middleton and Madison. And in 1912, Ferdinand Heim contacted Charles E. Brown, sure enough, the very first Charlie Brown, who was effectively the state's first archaeologist, state archaeologist, and asked him to come out and measure the thing. And sure enough, 5 years later, exactly 110 years ago, last Wednesday, Charles E. Brown went out and measured that very mound. And I'm sorry I don't have this available for.
We have this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so got a little bit more for you, for everybody. Sorry.
I hadn't seen.
Sorry, I can't get it to you.
Yeah, I had not seen this
So,
before.
I'm not sure if we can hold that up so people can see it on the screen. Yeah, so.
Bring it closer for all of you. Oh,
Technology is wonderful. So the top is, yeah.
it'll
Yeah.
moves to talk to you, but.
So there's a diagram of the mound, if you could hold up as it's laid out. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Oh, that is cool.
this is the shape of the mound. Can I get it to zoom in on me somehow? And it is a fox or a wolf shaped mound that is pretty unique to this area. Effigy mounds in general were only created in a relatively small area of the world that we're in the middle of. And that small area runs from just north of Wausau to down to Rockford, Illinois, east to west from the Lake Michigan over to a little bit beyond the Mississippi River. In that area between the years of approximately 800 and 1200, definitely 3,000, but, perhaps as many as 5,000 of these effigy mounds were created. And they're mounds that are in the shape of either actual or spiritual beings.
Did you say this was a fox?
Fox or wolf would be my guess. It's a canid of some kind. We don't know for sure. And this is one of the things that's always a challenge for those of us who in the effigy mound business is trying not to say, oh, that's what it is. The very first book that was ever written about effigy mounds in Wisconsin came out in 1855, written by a gentleman by the name of Increase Allen Lapham. And even in there, he said, we got to be really careful not to think that we can define what these mounds were all about. Because you know, we can just see what's there today, and that tends to be colored by our perception and not fully understanding the indigenous peoples and what they were after. So that's the basics of effigy mounds. Again, it's important to note they are cattle or they are burial sites. So as such, they take on a special significance. More recently, again, Heim contacted Charles E. Brown. Interestingly, there was a note back from Brown in 1915 saying, if you should ever break up your woodlot way out there, you know, in Middleton, so people who want to escape Madison in the summer can go out and build summer homes, it would be nice if you made some provision for protecting that mound. And sure enough, 22 years later, in 1937, when the Himes Woods subdivision, and that's what you see on your screen, this is the original map of the Himes Woods subdivision. When it was first laid out, our dear friend Herdman Heim did in fact create one little lot that you can see. It's that one that Daphne's got the pointer on. It's a 1/4 acre lot for the Wisconsin Archaeological Society containing.
What number would that be on?
It's actually not a number. It's a one right between 21, 22, 23, 24. It's a,
Oh, okay,
you can
excellent.
see the shape of the
Yes,
mound
yes.
run in there. Interestingly, there's never been a deed to that property. The only thing that we have that proves our ownership is this map. It says that it is being given to the Wisconsin Archaeological Society, and that was good enough for the county register of deeds. So we've owned it since 37. We have quite honestly a mixed history of taking care of it. I got involved with this in 2010, 15 years ago, and at that point, the lot, it's a 1/4 acre lot, was so covered with buckthorn that you could not see the mound.
Oh,
So we did a major debuckthorning day early in November of 2010, removed about 1,000 stems of buckthorn from that property. And since I've been trying to do a better job of managing the site. Sadly, somewhere along the line, someone decided that it would be neat to plant non-native, it's either Vinca minor, periwinkle, or winter creeper is another potential. I haven't figured out exactly what it is yet, but it really just covered the mound. But there were lots of wildflowers that were coming up through that. In fact, in that 1/4 acre lot, we've got 35 species of spring ephemeral wildflowers, which is just amazing. I had a botanist friend of mine there. He said, this should be a state natural area because of the diversity that's on this site. 5 years ago, we began doing prescribed fire on the mound to discourage the non-natives, and that's really done a wonderful job of not getting rid of them entirely, but made it so the mound is much better cared for. And so we've been very active in taking care of the site.
now who takes care of that? Is it the Historical Society?
Yep, Wisconsin Archaeological
Oh, the
Society.
Archaeological.
Okay, and primarily me and anybody I can cajole into helping out. You're all welcome to come in. So it is this unique little corner of the world. It is on this dead end thing called Mound Drive. So what you see in what Daphne's got up for us is almost the full extent of Mound Drive. It dead ends there. It also dead ends in what's now being called Mound Court. That whole 60 feet or so of pavement now has its own name. And there is effectively no parking on Mound Drive and Mound Court.
Well, it is no parking now. We've been in our ordinances.
As of last week, it is officially no parking. In reality, it's been no parking, and people with common sense have treated it as such. But since the corner with North Gateway was redone about 8 years ago, we've been having more people who are parking at that corner, and then some of them have begun parking up on Mound Drive itself, but very few. The main issue with parking has always been right there at the corner. My issue has been as we, this is a privately owned property, but our intent is to have it available for the public. I have never advertised it a great deal because I don't want to annoy my neighbors, because there is no place for people to park. On the few occasions we've had events there, we've told people park on North Gateway, do not try to park on Mound Drive. I don't want people turning around in people's driveways and causing all those issues.
Yeah.
So we've kind of kept it quiet, but quite honestly, we're at the point we want to encourage more visitation to this site. Which is why 5 years ago, I began the process of trying to get the street officially no parking. Because then I can begin to say, yeah, there really is no parking on this site. But
No, can we have signage there?
we can talk about that.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It's one of our issues of the day.
Yes.
But so that's kind of the status of where we're at right now. The kind of so the immediate things that have come up most recently is the plaque that was placed on this mound. I'm guessing this is one of the earliest Middleton landmarks from 1977.
You had a picture?
Yes.
Yeah, that you sent us.
Yeah, let me see
Of what it looked like. Was it on a stone?
Yep, there's a stone placed there. The other one that I want to point out, as long as Daphne's got this map up before you change it, is the right of way is 66 feet wide. The pavement is 20 feet wide. So there's an awful lot of Middleton-owned land on either side of the drive. The drive is dead end. It serves 10 houses. It does not need to be a superhighway. So one of our issues is there's a fairly large, in the case, because I was out there earlier today measuring it, it's 25 feet at the left-hand side, about 18 feet at the right-hand side of land owned by the city between the mound itself and the road. And unfortunately, whoever surveyed this for the good Ferdinand Heim back in 1937 ran the edge of the property about 6 inches away from the nose of the mound.
Awfully close, right?
Awfully close.
Yes.
Okay. The other one I should throw in here at this point is that our property, that quarter acre, is a cataloged burial site. So up until 1987, there was no legal protection of effigy mounds in Wisconsin as of January 1st. If the property owner agreed to it being cataloged, then it is legally protected. You cannot disturb that mound at all, and whatever property buffers it. When that law was first proposed, the proposal was for a 25-foot buffer around every mound. The then governor vetoed the 2, so it became a 5-foot buffer.
There it is.
So that's the.
I gotta share it for our people on Zoom as well.
Right. It's hard to determine exactly where that sits, right?
So it sits right now at if you're facing the property, the left-hand side, and what you're looking at, the kind of hump that you see behind it is the body of the mound, but you're looking at it as an odd angle.
Yeah.
So one of the things, I'll get into it more, is proposing moving the rock to the other corner so that you're looking at it, and I'll use our example here. So the rock is currently right here, and we want to move it here because from here you can actually get a fairly good view of the mound.
Yeah.
Here, it's really hard to make it out.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can just see the top of the head.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So we're going to move that, but we also, you want to change the wording.
Well, let's, do this a step at a time.
Yeah.
So, one of the issues then is, can we find a way to protect more land between the street and the mound itself? And so that's one of the things that's up. The most recent time that we dealt with all this was back in the fall of 2020, I believe, 2021. And I don't think any of you were on the Landmarks Commission at that point, so I can complain a little bit. And that is, the Landmarks Commission at that point updated the plaque that's on the rock without talking to me.
Oh, dear.
And there were some improvements from the original 1977 plaque, but it also threw in some pretty gross errors, including getting the name of the donor wrong, as well as misspelling archaeology. And also giving an address which would put it down at the corner of North Gateway and Mound Drive. So, hey, just technical errors. I only bring this up to say, as you work with these in the future, make sure you have somebody check.
I would think you would be the person to check it.
In this case, it'd be me, but also as you're dealing with other sites, I would encourage you, this one's kind of an oddball, I'll be the first to admit. But
And just so that we all know, the current address is 6300 is what it's listed as, but if you look at the parcel on Google Maps, it sits between 6306 and 6314. So following the numbering conventions on that street, it would be 6310.
yeah, and there actually is an early map that I got from Middleton that actually has that on it from the 50s.
Is it 6310?
6310, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is the location. And, right now, even where things are listed online, because if you follow the website that's listed on the plaque, it takes you actually to Middleton Historical Society site that has it listed. And quite honestly, if you went looking for it at 6300, you would wonder where the heck it is. So yeah, I kind of bring this up that yes, we've got problems with it, but also bigger picture, we need to make sure we, in the future, check these things before they're printed. So because of the idea of not wanting people to park on Mound Drive, one of the things so what happened is in the spring of 2022, we had a meeting. So this is almost 2.5 years ago. We had a meeting of the Landmarks Commission at the site. When it was in full spring bloom, it was beautiful. And I encourage you all to come out there again, come next spring or whenever you'd like. And there were several things that were discussed and brought up. Unfortunately, I think largely because of change in commission through the years, and because this is just not the biggest priority for the city of Middleton, none of the things that we talked about doing at that meeting and that the commission approved had any follow through. So part of what we're doing right now is working to make sure we follow through with those things. So one of those is the idea of putting a wayfinding sign at the entrance to Mound Drive. The idea with that being to reinforce the idea that there's no parking ahead, but also to say something like, Heim effigy mound, 300 feet ahead. I don't even think it's that far. And we can have an illustration of the mound and say, please park on that North Gateway and walk in, or something like that. We can work on the details, but especially now that it is officially a no parking street, we can say that. Before we couldn't say that and be serious about it. So that's one that I'd like to see us work on. The other is we are, and have been working for several years, putting an interpretive panel. It'll be the 2 foot by 3 foot kind of standard National Park Service design interpretive panel, which is going to give, the whole history of the thing. And this is what's going to be on that panel. So to help people actually see what this thing is, because effigy mounds are very hard to see from ground level. The idea is this will be on the panel.
Okay.
Will
Will it be, is it like a sign like this, wooden?
no,
It'll be more.
be more like the
similar
one
to
on the
this
upper
one.
left. Yeah,
Okay.
that style. Actually, I already have the base. We're just working on the interpretive information to put on it.
Where did you get these?
The base,
Can I ask where you bought it?
DRM supply out of Wisconsin Dells. I can send you their contact information. They are
That would be good.
And Rob, just for the committee, what's your timeline for?
thank you. I would like to do this next May. The issue is the mound looks the best in the spring. And May is archaeology month in Wisconsin, so that gives us several months to work on this thing.
Okay, and that also, from our standpoint, because we'll be updating the plaque at the same time, that helps us get our budget in line.
So what I am proposing, and this is what the commission agreed to back 2.5 years ago, and I just want to make sure we're all still on the same page, is to move the rock from the, if you will, left side to the right side. So it will be next to the interpretive panel. The interpretive panel will cover all the story. And what we're suggesting is, rather than having the story repeated on the plaque that's on the rock, use that instead to highlight, first of all, that this is a Middleton landmark, and then also highlight that it is on the National Register of Historic Places. So there wouldn't be any descriptive text other than just those two on the rock.
I think that sounds great.
Do we know what's on the rock? Is it a metal one or is it?
It's
that-
one of these.
Oh, it's one of these.
Yeah, so it basically looks just like this, but it says Heim Effigy Mound, and it has the text that we would then remove. And so it would still have, the titles. Yeah, this is not the right one, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, it would just have the title and then also the National Register one.
And then Rob, when we spoke, you indicated that perhaps the naming conventions for effigy mounds were undergoing some change.
Yep.
So will it still be appropriate to call it Heim Effigy Mounds?
No. So
This is
you're
one of those things for us to bring up.
Yeah.
going up
Yeah.
on the list, but so just to throw this one in. Effigy mounds tend to have been named for the owner of the land when they were first described, so this becomes known as the Heim Effigy Mound. Ferdinand Heim, as wonderful a guy he was, didn't create this thing.
Mhm.
So I have, ever since I got involved with this, been uncomfortable with calling it the Heim Effigy Mound. And I was trying to figure out some way of, because there are still Heims around, there are still descendants, and have some way of getting a name change without, I'll try to be polite here, annoying the family. Lo and behold, about 1.5 years ago, I guess more like 2 years ago, I get an email from one of Heim's great-great-granddaughters who lives in California. And she says, me and my family have been talking, and we appreciate the recognition, but it's really inappropriate. So why don't you work on creating a more appropriate name?
Perfect.
And that actually might be something for us to include on the Middleton plaque.
Yeah.
A description of the change in naming conventions.
Yeah.
And how the Heim family generously, of course, donated the land for this. And then again, the Heim family came back and said, could you please follow contemporary naming conventions for these mounds?
Yep. So in case you're interested, we've worked with the Ho-Chunk, and this has not been finalized, but the current plan is for the name of this mountain to be in the Ho-Chunk language, which is Tejo, Sukjak, Mat, Wer, Rook, which means Four Lakes Wolf Mound providing guidance. So,
Excellent.
yeah, I'm really pleased that that's finally come together.
Can I just see it?
Yep.
I just think it's cool.
Again, we're,
Oh, yeah, see, that, you pronounced that well.
well,
Because I did not have that.
I'm not, saying that my pronunciation is great. My skills in speaking Ho-Chunk are still somewhat lacking. So that's one of the pieces that we're dealing with. So the interpretive plaque, actually, the panel that we're putting together, and the rock would sit on what is Middleton property rather than on the Wisconsin Archaeological Society property. So be in that,
Slightly.
we'll call it right away. It'd be right.
Yeah.
And this brings us into the question of dealing with that buffer land. And when this was talked about 2.5 years ago, the suggestion was that part of the land between the property boundary and the nose of the mound and the street be included in the cataloging boundary. So this is with the Wisconsin Historical Society. So effectively what you're doing is you're committing part of that right of way will not be disturbed. So this also gets into, I'll just throw it in quick before my friend Charles can, and that is Mound Drive is scheduled for being reconstructed.
They're tearing it all out.
Yeah, it'll hopefully. There currently is no utilities, no water, no sewer under that buffer area, is what I'll call it. My guess is there's gonna be some push to make that street somewhat wider. Maybe not. Charles is saying no. Thank you, Charles.
There's not a push. I mean, so I can't speak on behalf of Public Works staff or the committee here because we haven't discussed that specifically. There will be a redesign element of Mountain Drive. However, the appetite for widening Mountain Drive would have to exist among the people who live on Mountain Drive.
And because they're all my friends, they're gonna say, we love it just as it is.
When we do street redesigns, we look to make sure that the people who use the street will be pleased with the design. Sidewalks are put in via special assessments of property owners, so all the property owners don't want a sidewalk. And in this case, I think it's a pretty safe bet that if they wanted a sidewalk, we'd have heard about it.
Yeah.
So, I don't personally see the footprint changing too dramatically, but, our design survey could come back with something else. I haven't specifically asked Public Works staff to which direction they're going, but I really don't see this road changing dramatically.
I wouldn't see why it would, but,
Well, we do have a complete streets policy, which we consult when we design our roads, which aims for the ability to have safe pedestrian and bicycle traffic, but you can't have that with just a street here since it's a dead end cul-de-sac.
Right.
I mean, this is a dead end street that services 10 houses.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
So That's without speaking for Public Works, just to be clear, I'm speaking as just me, the alder who one of two alders who serves on the Public Works Committee. I'm not speaking for the Public Works Committee or for staff. With that said, could I make a recommendation on how to proceed
Please,
with this?
Mhm.
not mine to say.
So what I would recommend now, is that the Landmarks Commission refer to Public Works concerns about potential disturbance of the mound during, the during the study and reconstruction of Mountain Drive in 2026 and 2027, and request that the Public Works Committee ensure that in the contract for the reconstruction activities on Mountain Drive, we include language that the contractor agrees they will not put heavy equipment on the parcel located between 6306 Mountain Drive and 6314 Mountain Drive on the I guess you would call it the northern side of the street.
Mhm.
And that they will not move earth or put earth on that parcel during the reconstruction activity. And then I also recommend that we consult the city attorney regarding the best way to handle that easement, and also refer to Public Works that particular easement area to see, just to confirm that there's nothing under there again. And that'll simplify things if this gets to council, because the Public Works Committee will have said, there's nothing under there. We're not locating anything under there. Let's do this. That's the path forward that I see is probably the one that addresses the most of your concerns, and the one that gives us the most flexibility is the city to make sure that we're treating this site appropriately and we're being good neighbors to all the neighbors on that.
Now, would that be something that Daphne does as far as notifying?
I mean, so I heard two different main things. So there's including the language in the
Yeah.
contract. So from
So-
storing, driving heavy equipment and moving earth.
Or
Anywhere.
or storing materials.
Yeah.
Or
Uh-huh.
But honestly, what I would suggest is that there be a construction fence put up on,
Mhm.
so what,
Good
I mean,
idea.
my guess is, even if they don't go any wider than the current 18 feet,
Mhm.
they're gonna have to go a foot or two or three in order to, do the edge. But what I would look at is measuring in from the current
Okay.
street, assuming that is gonna be the exact route, measure in 3 feet, 5 feet, whatever is reasonable,
Mhm.
and put up a fence.
Mhm.
So it's not stay out of that area, it's do not.
Right.
Do
Yeah,
not enter,
and
really.
yeah, and
Mhm.
that of course would not be mutually exclusive to putting in the contract as well.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
I guess my experience with construction folks is they're gonna put their vehicles wherever they darn well please. And even though it may be
Yeah.
written in the contract that somebody signed,
Yeah.
the guy who's driving that machine.
And when you're out there, they don't have the property lines all
It-
staked and, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So,
so we would probably want to do that in addition,
Yeah.
but that's also something for Public Works to discuss.
yeah. So there's that portion of it, which would be, which you guys could make a motion tonight. And then I would send that to our Public Works Director, who would include that in, the bid documents and all of that whenever they do the redesign, which I believe is next year for Mountain Drive.
Yeah.
Okay.
and
let's
just-
make that motion.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm gonna make that motion.
Okay.
Would anyone like to second?
This is Jackson. I'll second it.
So, everyone, aye?
Aye.
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 We all agree.
All right,
None opposed.
yep, okay, great.
So, kind of going along with that, this is Daphne and Abby and I met there a week and a half ago.
Yeah. Mhm.
And one of the things we came up with is, even in the short term,
Something to take that leg off.
we are gonna be putting
Oh, hang on, we don't have, oh, Jeff's back, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
a.
sorry.
Sorry.
Our remote participants need to be on
Yes.
video.
We as a Wisconsin Archaeological Society are gonna be placing a interpretive panel
Mhm.
on city property.
Yeah.
Now, again, normally as the owner of the adjoining property, you are responsible for everything out to the street.
Mhm.
You have to mow what is owned by the city if you're on a standard street. In this case, this is anything but standard street. It is, I'm sorry, Daphne, I gotta, tell a tale, and that is early conversation with you, I asked you about
Oh,
my
yeah.
drive.
Yeah.
And you
I
very,
thought it was a private.
very logically just thought it was a private street.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Because it is so unique, and quite
Yeah.
honestly, any of you who've not, spent any time over there, go spend some time and realize how unique it is. And this is one of the things, and I can't, just as Charles can't speak for the Public Works Committee at the moment, I can't speak for my neighbors in the same way, but I know my neighbors well, and they value the feel of that street
Mhm.
very
Good.
much.
Mhm.
And very much hope that as whatever redesign and rebuild, as well as, we're not gonna get into it too much because it's not really germane, as well as whatever's gonna go on at 6300 and at Castle Rock, does not negatively impact that unique little neighborhood.
Mhm.
So,
And so the second part, I think what you're getting at is that for that easement,
yep,
basically for, because what was the catalog distance, like the buffer was
They-
10 to
well,
25?
25 feet is what
Yeah.
was originally intended, and, right
Yeah.
now, there's not 25 feet to work with there.
Right,
No.
yeah, so then it would be getting an easement from the city so that we could have that kind of buffer for the 25 feet, and then also we can put the signage
Yep.
in what is essentially right now right of way, but could eventually
I
become.
mean, what I don't wanna do is invest our effort to put in a interpretive panel and then have somebody in the city say, well, you don't have a right to put that on city property.
Mhm.
I don't see that as a problem, but quite honestly, based on some recent experiences, common
Yeah.
sense doesn't seem to.
So that's something that I can work on right now, and we have, boilerplate easement language, that we can,
Yeah,
fill in and then, run it by you, Rob, and then run it by our city attorney, and then by Public Works as well. So that we can get the easement in place possibly before we do all of this redesign and reconstruction.
yeah, and I think the easiest way to deal with that for this committee would be to direct staff to work with the city attorney. And with Rob on behalf of the mound to figure out the exact boundaries of the easement that would be needed and the most expedient legal way to do that. It might actually be giving that land over
Mhm.
potentially.
Mhm.
I'm not certain,
Right, yeah.
but that was something we discussed as a committee in the past. And then what do you think the timeline for that would be, Daphne?
Probably have to check with the attorney.
Yeah, he's slim.
Yeah.
He still hasn't gone to our landmarks ordinance, so there's a lot of stuff going on right now.
Yeah, I think maybe we give this one a timeline of by the end of the calendar year.
Sure,
I
yeah,
think that's
I think that's reasonable.
4 months, we can figure it out. That way, Rob, you have the ability to get plaque ordered and done as soon as you get word back from us. And then, depending on what it is, it may need to go before well, actually, it's an easement, so it's gonna go before council, so it'll take 2 weeks, but
Mhm.
that timeline should give us a May, installation and delivery date with quite a bit of buffer.
Mhm.
Yeah, again, my personal, and this is just me being personally, knowing my neighbors, I mean, quite honestly, the right of way boundary goes up and through the front yard of the people who are right across from us because it is so wide. And I would hope that as things move forward, the city would say, there's no reason that we should be maintaining a 66-foot right of way. Because quite honestly, the city has to maintain the trees that are in that. And after figuring out what the route of the road is and a reasonable buffer on either side of the physical road, then vacate that extra property to the adjoining landowners.
So that's
That's a whole nother-
yeah, that's
Right,
that,
yeah, that's
getting-
public works.
yeah,
Part,
that's
yeah.
that's not germane here.
Right. But, it
This
would,
is one step.
be consistent with what we're asking you to do for our specific lot. Because it would look kind of odd to see that map with just a tooth sticking out of it.
I can appreciate that, but we really need to keep this deliberation germane to the item that we
Yep.
are legally empowered to consider.
Yep.
Yeah.
But, and this is gonna get into the last one, that is the no parking, that,
Actually, before we do that,
Oh.
can we vote on, or I'm gonna make my,
Yes.
I'm going to, restate, as Daphne recorded it in her notes, my motion,
Yes.
regarding the easements.
Mhm.
If anyone would like to second that so that we can vote to direct staff to,
I second that.
okay.
Anyone object? Raise your hand for aye.
Aye.
Okay,
All right,
it's passed.
all right.
No.
Sorry to cut you off.
no, that's fine, no, appreciate it. Because I've run so many meetings myself, I apologize so one of the issues again is I started the idea back about 5 years ago of making the street no parking, and the neighbors jumped on that as well. There was a petition signed by all the neighbors saying, let's make the street no parking. And that went through the process and was passed by the council last week. Before it was even passed the council, however, Public Works went out and started putting in signposts for no parking signs. On a street that is, as you can see, pretty darn short, less than 1/8 of a mile, they have 12 no parking signs. And just the posts have been put in so far. And the posts are, well, let's see, cursor, yeah, there you go. On that lot right there, there are 2 no parking signs in front of that property.
Is it like one
Oh,
over
I
here?
take that back, it's the next one down, or to
This
the
one?
right, to the
Oh,
right,
this
yeah.
one.
So,
And there is 1 no parking sign right there.
Yeah,
Yep,
one here and
Yep.
one here.
and the one that is on outside of our property is about 10 feet from where the interpretive panel ought to be. I'm sorry, they're ugly. It is way over the top. Now,
so
from the perspective,
from, just to stop you,
Yep.
just, we do need to keep our discussion here germane to what this committee is empowered to consider. And that specifically is the no parking sign that would be located on the actual site of the mound. That is the only one that
Okay.
is germane for discussion here.
Okay.
so I would ask that the signpost that is where the cursor is on the map be removed.
Okay, we also can't, as a body, remove that.
I know you can't, but
But we can refer to Public Works discussion of the placement of that particular sign and request that they look for an alternate.
okay,
And I think that's something where I'd be comfortable bringing that to the Public Works Committee, personally, but if the committee wants to vote to direct me to do that, or direct staff to, ask Public Works to do that, I'm fine with that. But I'm sorry to cut that discussion But that's the only one that this committee actually has any jurisdiction over.
Well, I'd like to make that motion to do it, for Charles to do that. Excuse me.
I guess the only point that I want to make there is I don't know what the mission, the full charge of Landmarks Commission is. Part of what we should be doing in the city of Middleton, the good neighbor city, and I'm just editorializing here, I'll keep it brief. And that is, this is a very, very unique little enclave. And sadly, you know, I worked with Daphne and with Abby on making it no parking, and then this got shifted over to the Public Works, and they followed their regulations. But quite honestly, they don't fit. They may fit on University Avenue, but they don't fit on this little stretch. And as a Landmarks Commission, you are concerned about the heritage of Middleton. And while it may not be your direct responsibility, I think there needs to be somebody in this city that says, hey, folks, we need to rein in things that affect our heritage.
Yeah.
And those no parking signs do.
So
That's the end.
I appreciate your point, and if this were a historic district as a designated historic district, then we would potentially be empowered to do something regarding the signs. However, it is not, and I don't believe that the entire neighborhood would meet the criteria that we set for historic districts.
Yeah, we'll have to see with the survey. We're still waiting on
That's true. We are still waiting on the survey. So without presupposing the results of that survey. But as it sits right now, what this committee is empowered to evaluate is the placement of that one sign. And even there, I think that we're restricted to making a request to Public Works to find an alternative site for that sign or remove it entirely. So that's what I request that we do, just to fit within our charter.
Yeah,
Then I request that,
yeah,
Yeah,
so
that
I have
Charles does that.
Sandy made the motion and I'm waiting for a
I will
second.
second that
Okay.
motion.
that you
To
do.
direct Charles to bring this discussion to Public Works.
Yeah, I'll email Ben
Okay,
at the conclusion of this meeting.
great. So we need a vote first on this motion.
Okay.
And then,
Aye.
oh, yeah, I think she's voted.
Yes,
Okay,
She's
We're all-
affirmative. Okay,
positive.
okay, great.
That's what I have on my list with one final thing, and that is, 2.5 years ago, this commission went through all this, and then I didn't pursue anything, and staff didn't pursue anything, and the commission didn't pursue anything. I want to make sure we keep this going, and I'm willing to do whatever I can to do that. I certainly would be most willing for any of you individually who would like to come see the mound and see what we're doing there. I'd be glad to give you the guided tour anytime at your convenience. And I do think we need to keep in mind that this is part of the heritage of this land. And mounds are important because it's not just the mound itself, but it's the context that it's in. I wish I could go back to Ferdinand time and say, just give us the whole area. And oh, by the way, could we preserve the view? Because at the time this was created, the view would have looked all the way down to Lake Mendota. And you could have seen Lake Mendota from this mound, as well as you could see this mound
I can see that.
from Lake Mendota.
Okay,
It's not a real abrupt ridge, but
Right.
it definitely is a ridge.
right.
So, and it's why I bring up the surrounding area. And I realize there are limitations to what this commission can do. But I think I would encourage you to think not of just individual buildings and individual mounds, but the greater heritage and feel for Middleton and maintaining that, because it is important.
Yes, I'm wondering, Middleton recently did these. I'm wondering if there's anything in here about the mountains. Yes.
So that's from the tourism.
Yes,
Right?
they just did these and, I'm wondering if there's anything in there. See, I don't see it.
I think those might be focused on what's downtown.
Yeah, these are focused on downtown and
And
businesses.
walking, yeah,
Right.
okay.
So I think, oh wait, no, there's 16 is, yep, no, it's on here.
Okay.
But it's
Yeah.
called the Heim.
It's called the Heim Effigy Mound. The address is wrong because it's wrong in all of
From
our
the-
printed materials. And,
We'll do better in the future.
yes.
Well, we'll make sure that we know that tourism and,
Mhm.
Yeah,
Middleton Area Historical Society know of that change in
Yeah.
that name and everything.
yeah. And actually, if you could give a copy of that to Rob, I'm sure he'd be happy
Absolutely.
to send
Yeah. And we are,
a
we are,
nice blurb
we are
to
in the
tourism.
process of
for their next
redoing
printing.
this.
Okay.
Okay. But it's so far down.
Well, we're working on it, but
We're doing
very
this
quickly.
early, and it's
Yeah.
almost completed. We wanted to do this along with it because this was created in 1996 when they did the original survey. And there's not a lot that's gonna be changed there, but perhaps we could put something.
Well, and I would certainly hope in terms of the survey, again, effigy mounds,
Are not included.
are not, quite the same as historic buildings, which is what, heritage
Yes.
commissions tend to deal with.
Right.
We're kind of unique, but I think it's pretty darn special.
I'm wondering if you should be in touch with Tracy Schnell and just,
Tracy's work is only on structures.
Okay.
So we would have to do a completely separate like archaeological survey. If we wanted to, I mean, the Heim is already pretty well cataloged compared to like the other ones that we have in Middleton. So, that would be a separate,
And that would
survey and.
also be a grant expenditure.
Right,
But
yeah.
at this point, I think that subsequent survey is sufficiently far away from the agenda item
Yes,
that.
yeah.
Um,
But yeah, I'll just give a quick recap. So, as we have decided, the rock will be moving to, a location next to the panel, and we can basically do that whenever your panel is up. We can do that, the next day and
Yeah.
move it.
And probably what we'll do is do that in the spring sometime.
Yes, yeah, and then we'll switch out the sign and, with just, this new name. And then Middleton Landmark National Register is on the plaque, and then we can maybe include a blurb about,
Actually,
Heim family.
That's gonna be included in.
Oh, that's gonna be yours? Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, so then we'll
Because
just leave ours.
And
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and then that way Rob can get all the facts right on his interpretive panel. We don't have to worry about that. So that's what we'll do in the spring. And then we also have included the language in the contract to, fence off the area, no storing of equipment or supplies, heavy equipment, all of that. No dirt.
yeah, no moving earth, no
Yeah,
disturbing
right.
ground, all of the,
That will be
Yeah.
included in the contract. And then we have, the easement that we'll draft up. And so that's probably the one that we can work on currently, like most promptly after this meeting. And then finally bringing the discussion of that one signpost to Public Works.
And then the other one is beginning to develop a wayfinding
Oh,
sign.
yes, the wayfinding. That was in the very beginning,
Yep,
yeah.
yep. And I appreciate the time all of you have taken to listen to this. It's,
It's a lot of history that we,
it's neat stuff. Let's put it
Yeah.
that way. Just be blunt about it.
yeah. Okay, so then I'll hopefully follow up with you, Rob, when we have that easement drafted, so we can look it over and then, yeah. And our timeline is to have that hopefully before the end of the year.
Yes.
For that easement specifically.
yeah, that was the timeline we set.
Mhm.
I think the full quarter is sufficient to get it.
We work slowly, but we can probably do it in that quarter, yeah. Okay,
Thank you very much.
Great.
thank you.
Taking the trip down from Baraboo, Rob.
My
I really
pleasure.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
and let us know the next time you're doing a burn out there and maybe.
We'll do a burn with the students. I teach prescribed fire class for the university and we have the students come out and do the burn in the spring. So
Mhm, great.
Great, yeah.
Yeah, that's when you can see them on the bus. too.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent.
Okay, thank you so much, Rob.
We have all we need for us.
And let me leave, well, I'll just leave all of these with you guys, because I know where it is on my files.
Yeah.
And if you can share those with others, I think.
You know, I'm thinking maybe Daphne, would you be,
Yes, I
The
believe
keeper of these?
Rob sent them to me, but I have.
here's a
Sure.
stack, yeah.
All those people.
Yeah.
I know where to put them.
Okay, perfect. So, we can conclude the discussion of the Highway Future Mountain.
Mhm.
And, that brings us to discussion of landmark plaque quotes and options.
Yes.
I just want to say one thing. I used to do signs for commercial buildings.
Uh-huh.
You're paying way too much for what you do. And I think you know that already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because I included in this
Even those signs.
summary,
Yeah.
this included some of the quotes that you had received too, Sandy. I think you
Yes.
contacted Fast Sign.
Well, it wasn't an actual quote, it was an email, so I
Right.
can't really say it was a quote.
Right,
But Alpha
yeah.
Graphics, as much as we love them, they are very good at what they do. But
Yeah.
I think they're really high priced, and I think we want to keep it in the Middleton area if possible, right?
Yeah.
Middleton, Madison, or at least Wisconsin.
Right.
And so I would like to go out and get more bids.
Okay.
I got one bid from not that we would do this, but I got one bid from Etsy site. Three of those for $25.
3 of the plaques.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, well, maybe what we would do is have them do one to make sure it's quality. I mean, because
Right.
you can spec all you want, but
Yeah.
you need to see
Yeah.
it and feel it and make sure it is the same quality.
Okay.
But I would like to investigate more, so let's go beyond that. And say we're gonna investigate more, we're gonna get more prices, we'll make that as a discussion at the next meeting. And then that brings us to.
Just on the subject,
Yes.
because it is number 3, and
That's your.
at our-
good piece.
so at
Oh,
our-
my goodness.
at our last meeting, we voted to reject all of the bids for making these cedar backers because I'm a professional woodworker and I can make them in my shop.
Would they be this thick?
So these are the ones that this is one of 7 that I made for the city. And then I realized that I hadn't put the OG profile on the edge when I went to go look at one of the existing plaques. And the only question I have for the committee is, do you want me to try to match the existing routed profile? On the other? So,
I can get a good example.
yeah,
Yeah, Opera House is probably biggest, there you go.
so,
That
oh,
one's
wait.
a little older.
oh, that one doesn't actually
It
have
does
the
not have-
profile.
It doesn't.
Okay, yeah, the Galt House does have the edge profile.
Yeah.
How difficult is that for you?
It's not really a question of being difficult, it's a question of matching, and
Mhm.
it seems like we
We
don't
already
match.
have a couple
Yeah.
that are.
And because we don't have all of them matched consistently, I personally think that frees us up to make a decision going forward. I'm not, just candidly, I'm not in love with that sort of rounded round, like large round
No.
with a little edge.
It's
I-
just a space where pests and water can get into.
Yeah, if we were going to do it, I'd recommend either an 1/8 inch round over, or which is just a very small round over, or a hand sanded round over, which provides like a little bit more of a rustic look. Or alternatively, if we wanted to go with a more modern look, and I'm sorry, this is very difficult to see if you're remote, but a 45-degree bevel cut on each side, about 1/4 of an inch And so just a very small bevel. And I don't want to, I don't think it's prudent to do much more than that because of the placement of the lag bolts that go into the building.
My suggestion is, would you take one of our signs and create an example?
Yeah, I could create an example out of this, although that would also require us to not use it if we don't go with that edge profile.
Yeah.
And also just for simplicity's sake, if we are bidding out, if we are bidding out future projects, putting any edge profile at all on any large number of them will add,
Increase. Yeah.
it'll add at least 15 minutes of shop time to the build, and that will increase the cost.
Yeah.
If you're only doing one, you know, that increases the cost substantially. If you're doing 10 or more of them, you know, you're not really increasing the cost that substantially because you only have to set up the router table once.
Mhm.
But it is just something to consider that will add to the cost. Since we don't have a uniform edge profile, we're free to choose.
Yeah, I like the subtle bevel, you know, and if it's easy to do, yes.
Oh, yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah, that would be, give it a,
Hold it up for you guys to come and see.
that would be
from
nice,
afar.
I think that would be nice.
And
And
Daphne, if
no-
you could, here, and I'll
You're
hand it up
closest,
for.
yes, you're closest.
Yeah, so this is what it would
Yeah.
look like, except it's gonna be centered and not crooked.
Right, and the edges will be well, yes,
Yeah.
And,
sanded like.
yeah, and the edges will just be hand sanded, so they're not as sharp.
Well, before we vote on it, I say let's do one and
Okay,
make sure it's okay, and then we kind of vote, say, yes, let's continue.
yeah, and hand sanding it, just to be clear, that's one where if we decide something else, that'll be fine. If you wanted me to make a sample where I routed that almost inch long or half inch curve into it,
No.
that would be subsequently unusable for any
Yeah,
purpose.
let's
If you didn't want that.
Don't even, do it.
Uh,
Yeah, I just wanted to say that though, I think that this needs more, the plaques and quotes need more, just a little more study.
Mhm.
And then we'll contact that organization that he told us about.
Great, yeah, so we'll have this ready for the next meeting then.
Great,
If you want to vote to direct me to do that, great.
yes,
If not, you've already voted to direct me to create these, so this is just additional guidance on my.
okay, I vote to have you do the sample, as you described and bring it to the next meeting.
All right, I will second the motion to have me hand sand one of these. If I realized that was a possibility, I would have taken a 5-minute recess and done it
That's okay.
just now.
Yes, okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're all set. Then the last thing is the date of the next meeting is in conflict.
Yeah, hi, so I'm Jewish, there aren't that many of us in Wisconsin. But for those of you who are unfamiliar with Judaism, Rosh Hashanah is one of our high holidays. It's our new year. And so our next meeting for September conflicts with Rosh Hashanah. So I would appreciate it since I'm now also going to be bringing things to that meeting if we rescheduled that meeting so that it does not conflict
Mhm.
with the Jewish holidays.
Okay, so typically it would be the 24th
Yes.
and your holiday starts on the 23rd.
And
Does it go a week?
no, so here I'll pull up the. Oh, I don't,
Calendar?
I don't have the overlay for some reason. Oh, because I'm looking in August. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so the only here's my suggestion, if possible. if we could move this to Wednesday, the 17th, Daphne.
Yeah,
Because if we move it to October 1st, that would put me in conflict with Yom Kippur, which is also one of our high
Yeah.
holidays. And I will be fasting and doing quiet reflection and apologizing to all the people who I've done shitty things to throughout the year. So,
I say let's move it to the,
Okay,
if we can, if everyone's schedule is that way.
the 17th, still at 6:15 PM.
Yes, but you know, is 6 o'clock better? 6:15 makes it longer, you see,
Yeah.
it's 7:40 already. Pretty soon. it's gonna
Well,
be dark.
we did have a lot on the.
Sorry, I was long with you.
I'm sorry, yeah. But yeah, I think 6:15 was what we had decided for, you know, people with childcare and stuff
Okay.
like that, so.
yeah,
We can keep that, the time, but just move the date to, the Wednesday before, yeah, September 17th.
All right, I think that concludes our business, unless anyone has anything else.
I just wanted to say thank you, everyone, for moving the date to accommodate.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay,
I think
you reached,
Oh.
Jeff has his hand raised.
yes, Jeff.
Yes, in agreement with Charles. I want to thank everybody for moving the dates because I don't know if Charles remember, I celebrate the feast too. I celebrate Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, so it would be great for me also.
Perfect.
Good,
Thank you, Jeff.
excellent. Okay,
Well, we've reached the end of our agenda, so,
We still have future agenda.
oh yes, future agenda. Does anyone have anything they would like to discuss at future meetings? No, I think we're still working on the signs and,
I think
maybe
that
the
revision.
historic houses.
how about the revision of the
I'll add that
alteration form?
when
Yes,
we get the ordinance passed.
okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think if we don't have the ordinance before L&O,
Mhm.
in the next month, I'd like a staff update on
Okay.
the timeline
Yeah, okay,
to be the agenda item, just
Yeah.
because when I initially moved to defer consideration of that until the ordinance, I did not anticipate that it would be a full year
Yeah,
almost
right,
after
yeah.
making that motion.
right.
Um,
Did everyone see this?
Yeah, I think you sent that out, Sandy.
Did I? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's all. Okay, then we have the sign, landmark plaques, codes, and, well, not just the plaques, but all signs. Okay. And then, the move. I don't have anything else to add,
Okay,
so, if we are completed, can we adjourn? 7:43?
yeah, we're at the
so.
end of our notice agenda,
Okay.
so.
We adjourn, meeting adjourned.
all right. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Martha.
Not a problem. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good
Yes,
night.
thank you. Good night.